What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you my ultimate summoner build. I apologize for my voice, I'm a little under the weather right now, but without further ado, let's get right into it. So this build is purely focused on summoning as many minions as possible, which includes the weapon mods and the skills, and I'm using the 2 flyer minions, and I'm also using the turret from the engineer archetype, and I'm using the prime archetype as the engineer, so that way you can overclock the turret, so that way you can get more damage out of it. And another good thing is that the turret also counts as a minion, so any piece of gear that relates to minions, the turret will also count for that as well. And I'll also be telling you guys where to get the items that I have, so that way it's a little bit easier so you guys can grab them for yourself. Alright, so first things first, we're going to go over some of the archetype stuff. So of course I'm using the engineer as the prime perk, and I'm using the heavy weapon Vulcan. And the perks increase skill damage by 50% and skill critical chance by 10%. And then the team perk, heavy weapons grant 15% damage reduction and gradually restore ammo, which is good if you're holding the weapon. And we have the heavy mobility perk. And then also the relic perk, using a relic refills 15% of the weapon ammo bonus and is doubled when heavy weapon is stowed. So it's good overall perks. And then we have the high tech perk here, like I showed you. And then we are using the flyer minions. I just think these are overall better than the ground ones. And the Ravager, you can only use one. You could use these to clear out like smaller enemies, but I just like the overall flyers. And then the skills to go along with that, we have the Dominator, which increases mod and skill damage by 35% and mod and skill critical chance by 5% when a minion is active. So you have 2 minions with this, especially with the Vulcan turret. It increases that as well. And then moving on to the next perk, we have Residue, where if a minion expires or dies, it leaves an aura, so you can, hop in there and gain a health regen. We also have Outrage, which Sacrifice grants 3% lifesteal for each minion sacrificed and increased movement speed by 15%, so it's a good last resort perk. And using a relic grants minions 5% max HP per second and increases their damage dealt by 15% and crit damage by 15%, and it lasts for 30 seconds. So this is also good, especially just before a boss fight, if you have your minions spawn and then pop a relic. That way you have that 30-second damage buff. And then the weapon that I'm using is the Chicago Typewriter. It's just a good overall weapon. I do have a video of how to obtain this, plus a beefy set of armor. I'll put that link up in the cards right now. And then I use Root Lash, which you get from Kaelula's Shadow in Yesha, and then I also have Momentum Mutator, which you also get from Yesha. It's in a Imperial Gardens side dungeon dropped by Mantagora. And then I have the Red Doe Staff, which is if you save the doe for the Ravager questline, you get this weapon as a boss weapon. Really good because if you charge up the hits, sends out a doe spirit that does damage and also heals minions. And then I have the Bolt Driver, which has the Space Crabs, which the Space Crabs you can obtain from the final boss in the Hatchery dungeon on Narud, and then the Bolt Driver can be obtained from Yesha in the Waterheart puzzle. And then I also have the Soul Guard Ring, which gains a stack of Bulwark for each active minion, which that can be obtained from the Blood Moon Altar on Yesha. And then I have the Cataloger's Jewel, which automatically generates 8 mod power per second. This can be obtained in the Beatific Palace on La Somme after you reach the Jester after the card event in the Malefic Palace. And this also you have the Soul Link Ring, which is also from the Blood Moon Altar, which gives you some lifesteal after some minions do some damage. And then I have the Probability Core to greatly increase crit damage as well, which can be obtained from Root Earth on the Corrupted Harbor. And for the amulet, I have the Stalker's Brand Amulet, which you gain a 10% ranged and 15% melee damage boost when the enemies are not targeting the wearer, which is great for this build because usually the enemies are targeting your minions, so you usually get this buff pretty often. And then moving on to the traits, I have Vigor maxed out, and I didn't put any points in the stamina because it just wasn't really needed for me. But of course you want to max out Spirit and Expertise, that way you have the max skill cooldown and mod generation, and especially because the mods that we're using with Space Crabs and Tentacles, they generate pretty fast. Then we have Blood Bond, Rugged for minion health, and Bark Skin for damage reduction, and then we also have Amplitude, which increases AoE size, which the reason why for this is the relic that we have, which I'll show you here in a second, which is the Pulsing Heart. which on use pulses every 3 seconds for 15 seconds within 7 meters for 20 health over 0.5 seconds per pulse. And this also heals allies as well, which count for your minions. So you could pop this, they get the damage boost, and they also get a health boost as well. And then I have the skill damage, ranged critical damage, and a ranged critical chance, and this pairs well, especially with the momentum mutator on our Chicago typewriter. And as we're going through this build guide, everyone, if you guys want to stay up to date with the latest and greatest games coming out, we provide you with reviews, tips and tricks, highlights, you name it, we got you covered here at Lost Days Gaming. So drop a like on this video and consider subscribing for more content coming your way. We also live stream here on YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday, and I'll have them scheduled so you guys can check that out as well. And I also want to invite you to our Lost Days Gaming community over at Discord, where you can talk about games or team up with a partner. That link will be down below. We would love to see our community grow and possibly have our viewers and subscribers play with us on one of our live streams. Now with all that out of the way, guys, I'm going to show you some gameplay of how the build works, and I hope you guys like it. And I'm also playing on Nightmare difficulty.
Whew, glad that's over. Here they come.
I hope y'all enjoyed that little snippet of gameplay. Let me know what you think about the build down in the comments below. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Deuces.